Whiskey's whiskey. All right. Okay, here we are.
Hello.
Oh, looking forward to this.
All right.
I really am. So
All right.
the plan is that I don't try it until the podcast.
Looks like that's what we're going to be doing.
Then we can re-dissect it all.
You get a chance to
Try it for the first time in a long
approach
time.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've drank Dalwhinnie before. We've drank Dalwhinnie before. Dalwhinnie's been around before. And yet tonight, the birds, the June air, the daylight, maybe it brings a whole nother essence and meaning to drinking Dalwhinnie, the gentle spirit. What do you get on the nose?
I'm getting some really pleasant stuff, like
Totally.
stuff, unique stuff.
It is unique, isn't it?
I don't know if it's just you're convincing me, but it smells rich. It does have a little floral essence.
Do you sort of see what I mean about that honey waxy
Yeah.
kind of yeah, and I mean, like I say, right on the cork it was even a more intense sort of oily licorice, but in a nice licorice way. I don't even like black licorice, but somehow I like that smell. Now, I didn't get it as much on the nose, and coming back to it now, yeah, a little bit of vanilla, quite a bit of sort of that heather lavender flower, and maybe just a hint of a sweet honey fruit going on. And like I say, there's other things to come, I believe, too.
Yeah, I would agree. It's exciting to smell that after a long time. In another, and one that you haven't tried for a while that, you maybe really weren't all that excited about to begin with.
Well, that's the thing. This wasn't high on the. Oh, sorry.
No. I was gonna.
Not high on the priority list, really, in terms of tasting. But yet here it is, and we have a chance to give her and see what it's all about.
Here we go. Here I go.
Yeah. Well, cheers, hey.
Cheers.
Uh-oh. Keep my fingers crossed. How are you doing here?
Okay. I would say that's a winner.
Yes. Good. Whew, I feel relieved.
But then I had this second thought, so let me...
Yeah. Well, and you've only had one
Yeah.
sip. You're just touching the surface here. You see what I mean about the linger, though? It's so pleasant. Like it truly does hang on. I think that's a huge mark of the quality, and I think that has a lot to do with the age. I really do. I think if it's something that's sat in a cask for that long.
I like that. I like the 15 year. Put it on the box. That is special nowadays,
Isn't it?
especially nowadays, right?
I know. You're
Yeah.
halfway to 30 there. I mean,
That's a long time.
I know. Just to be sitting in a barrel way up in the plains, sitting between two mountain ranges, going through a series of intense changes of temperature, and and on top of that you have the water sources coming directly from glacier melting. So you have this winter snow that's constantly refreshing the water source and bringing a whole other, you talk about your florals and your sweetness and your mountain flowers and stuff. And you can feel all of that kind of happening in this whiskey.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that they, didn't go the sherry route, because it would obscure the natural sweetness that is occurring I believe, from the water and from the climate, the microclimate that it happens to be in. And now that
Thank you.
the mic isn't bothering you,
Well-
can we get back to the floral highland flowers? Can we get up to the mountain passes where the snow is sort of melting away, and we have an opportunity to taste, what man and nature coming together up in that place where man went up there and said, I'm going to build this distillery in this really, really desolate place that's completely isolated, and I'm going to create a magnificent whiskey based on the geographic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here we are drinking Dalwhinnie, 15-year-old Dalwhinnie. It's great.
I like that. It's got a lot of pluses to it, I think. Yeah. You got the age. The age is great. It does have a unique flavor. It does stay with you. And that the sweetness that you were talking about, honey sweetness, it does almost come across like the smoke, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And it is quite nice.
Well, I'm thinking the smoke is actually the residue from the charred American bourbon casks.
Mm.
I really think that, because where else is your smoke coming from? You know, it doesn't have the peat influence that Islay scotches have, or a Highland Park, right? It's a completely different thing. But yet, I got it initially on my first two, less so on my third flavor, and I'm not getting as much. I won't lie. Now that I'm drinking it now, I'm not getting it quite as much. We're on my finish.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still getting a big punch of that.
Mm.
And I do really like it, but my one thought was, and I'm kind of backing off now, the more that I have it, I'm sort of thinking maybe that's just too mean. But it's not mean, and I do mean it as a compliment. I mean, here's what I mean.
What do you mean? Jonathan, what do you mean?
And that's going to have to be edited. Okay, if a blend, okay, this tastes to me like it was a really good blend. Like if blends tasted like this, I'd have them all the time, because I am getting a little bit mid-range towards the end. I'm getting a blend-esque flavor, but it's really nice. You know, it's still a really, really nice flavor.
Yeah.
But there's some essence there that is drawing me sort of slightly out of it. But it's really well put together. You know what I mean? I don't want to like, I know that no matter what, that sounds bad, right?
I don't think so. I think what you're saying is that Highland and Speyside whiskeys contribute to a tremendous amount of the blended whiskeys, and they create a bit of a dominant character. This one has some of that sweetness and some of that floral is, I think, a trademark of many blended whiskeys. They actually want that in abundance. This particular single malt has that character, but it's not completely defined by just that. It has more to it. I wouldn't say it has complexity in the sense that it takes you through sort of a really elaborate journey. I think it's sort of like it smells a certain way, it tastes a certain way, it finishes a certain way, and it has a balanced complexity almost, you know, as opposed to you know, it never really fades away and then comes surging back. It doesn't have that sort of a thing. It's sort of, and to tie this back into the point about blends and why this has a sense of a blend is it sort of has that, I think, that nice balance to it, you know? And I think that's what ultimately most blenders and most master blenders are aiming for. And like a decent blend, and I won't lie, I haven't had, especially lately, many good blends. I haven't even been drinking Chivas or Johnny Walker Black. I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying at least they're a step up from buying Grants and Catos and, you know, Ballantines and the things that you're going to buy just to drink on the rocks, you know? Right. So I guess this does open the door to start thinking a little bit about, you know, what maybe a Johnny Walker Green label tastes like, or some of the blends that people, that I've been reading at least, say it's worth trying. Right. That the blenders are really actually putting in effort rather than just pumping out a product. Just pumping out like cheap. Yeah, where you get like your perfect, it's not going to be good. It's just cheap. It's fine to drink with soda. You know, don't sweat it if you want to throw some soda in there. Yeah, I still go back to my blend argument though. I still don't quite. I got to experiment a little more, and the cheaper blends they're great to have on ice like we talked about. Mm-hmm. But how much better does it have to be in order to kick it into the single malts, though? Right? Yeah, you know what I mean. It's gotta, there's and really got to be. I mean, I just don't know what they could possibly do to make that happen. No, I know. I can't imagine it in my head, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. No, exactly, and that's why it's worth trying. You know, absolutely, that's why it's worth trying. And when you know what I've been noticing about some of the Japanese whiskeys is some of their favorite whiskeys are blends. Like it's all about the blends. Yeah. You know, so it's a whole different approach there where they're really trying something different. But I mean, that all being said, the Dalwhinnie is greater than a blend, and it has a lot of uniqueness, and I think it's a pretty special whiskey. You know, much deserving the Diageo thing, being in the classic malts, blah blah blah. But it has that welcoming, gentle spirit that I think would be worth giving. You know, a friend that has never tried it a chance. You know, that kind of thing. And I mentioned that in the video, but I think that's a really good point. Yeah. That, you know, if you had to ease someone into this, without shorting them any of the, because there is a little this and that while you drink it, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the finish is something in particular that I think is where you could like say, all right, because I mean, there might be people, like not everyone's going to enjoy single malt whiskey, even if you really talk it up and present it perfectly and give them a chance to, there's going to be some people that are still like, oh God, that tastes like cat piss,
Yeah.
no matter what you do. So at least this is a little make or break whiskey too, where there's enough in here going on that, you could draw them in on the best purposes, but at the same time, if it's not absolutely perfect, whatever. You know what I'm getting at?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I do. I'm looking at it now, and I agree with everything you said. I like the fact that they're included in the classic malts, even though it's owned by the one company. But hey, when you own over half,
Yeah, you're gonna get some good ones too.
You're gonna have a big pool to choose from. So that's cool. And it really is shocking to me how much I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, that's the best.
And
part.
I was going into it thinking I want to try it, but I remember really not liking it.
Not being a fan. Well, and I remember that too. And I did think that this was going to be another one of those podcasts where we were on opposite ends of the spectrum. But it's good to know that you're generally down with the Dalwhinnie. Do you then support the rating of 4?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I could come back to the thing that...
Oh, for sure.
Now that I have Dalwhinnie on the bar, I would always have Dalwhinnie on the bar.
It's a great alternative.
Yeah, and again, like a great bridger, like for us, we're trying to get to the Islas, this would be a great place to begin. And for people where you're a little concerned about whether or not they can handle it, you can serve this to them, and be really, really happy. And you would like them. You know what I mean? Like you would actually have to like that person to give them this,
Yeah.
Because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Some people say
and it's quality. It's definitely
exactly.
quality. It's different. Yeah, there's lots of quality ones you could label as quality, but this one is, like you say, it's a different flavor. It's kind of going in another direction. It would be like a Talisker-esque or a Lecheg-esque, where you're going, to a. I'm unique. There's nothing wrong with that. Like here I am. I'm not like the other ones.
That's right.
And I'm confident that I'm different. Plus, the 15 years that's been around. Really, other than maybe a couple others, they usually change. They usually drop their
That's
top.
right.
Well, and
Yeah,
they
there's
sort of
an
sell out.
NAS
Let's go a
appearing.
little. Let's
Suddenly
do a
the
10.
That's right. Or the flower version, NAS, where you don't know what's in it.
So
the Weatherman's version. Well, and that's a couple of interesting facts. One thing about Dalwhinnie is that it's also a weather station, given its location. That the manager of the distillery is actually also responsible for taking the weather measurements once a day,
Really?
which is kind of cool. They have a barracks attached to the distillery, sort of a rough and ready place where if people in their automobiles get stranded or if workers get snowed in, they have a place to stay because they're so isolated that
Really?
travel is actually an issue. You can get like
That's surprising.
7 feet of snow up there.
I wouldn't have thought they would have got that much snow up there.
Yeah, well, they do. Yeah.
So is it a ski resort too?
No, I don't know what goes on in Scotland in terms of, riding down hills and stuff, but I do know that there are some significant challenges. The other thing that's interesting about Dalwhinnie, and I didn't get into it, even though it's called the meeting place and it's sort of a, pleasant and whatever, the meeting place, what that actually means is it was a place where people who were transporting illegal liquor, like these were smugglers that knew to meet up between this mountain pass. And it was a place where exchanges could take place, where people from Speyside could move up and start to intercept and, intersect with people coming from other parts of the country to get rid of and turn over and sell illegal whiskey. So it's it's got some really interesting, and the one reason why they could actually justify building it where it was is because there was a major train track coming through that area. So they can, and Dalwhinnie, they produce a lot of whiskey per year. I mean, obviously it's well stocked here in British Columbia constantly.
Yeah.
So that's an indicator. But all that whiskey needs to get off that property and move into other places for distribution. So there is a major rail line. So it's a really interesting thing, that whole, why did we build it there? There's a million other places to build it. But to go to that altitude, to that desolation, and to create this is a great story. It's very remarkable.
I'm going to have to try it again too. We'll wait to see how the bottle evolves after it sits for a bit, but I'm getting a lot of nice stuff out of it.
I am too. One thing I did read was that as you get to the end of this bottle, it gets smokier, which is something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we certainly saw that with Kalila, where it took on a greater character as we progressed through the bottle. So you always have your radar up now, where it's like, okay, on the initial taste, it's going to be a certain way, and then as you continue down that road of completing that bottle, there might be more there to offer.
Definitely. And you know, which brings us to the next point is
Comparison. Scotch.
So I didn't give it any thought at all because I didn't know what it would be. I didn't know what I didn't know what I was gonna be in for. I thought it would be maybe like a what's it called? Brackla?
Brackla?
That was my initial thought before I went into this.
Another
Now I'm
one
not
like
so
this.
sure.
I know.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think that'd be fair.
I don't really think there's a whiskey that can stand up to this on the category levels. Like, I don't think we have a whiskey that will truly compare to this Dalwhinnie 15-year-old.
Yeah, but we're gonna have whiskeys that could beat it.
Of course, but that's a different, so it brings us, okay, so I'll just take you through my thought process, because it seems like I'm kind of moved through a few ideas anyway. Number one, the Strath Isla. Why? Because there's some geographic comparisons.
Okay.
The other thing is there's a lack of sherry. So it has that going on. Now, I can tell you right now, if we brought Strath Isla up here and drank it alongside the Dalwhinnie, that it would get its butt kicked. It wouldn't even be close. It would be...
I would tend to agree.
It would just be us ragging on Strath Isla again, and it would almost be a pointless exercise.
But it does have that, because
know.
we said the Strath Isla had a little bit of that blend action in it.
Yes.
And there's just a bit of it
exactly.
in there.
I think it has some
So
character.
you're right.
There
It
are
could be
shared
good.
characteristics. Number one, no sherry. Number two,
Yeah.
whatever that blend thing is that we keep talking about. I think it's a floral / vanilla unity type thing that goes on. Anyway, let's push that aside for a sec.
Okay.
The other
next.
two that I thought might
Two
be
more.
considerable.
Let me see if I can guess one of them.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
just try to think
Go
what
ahead.
we've got up there. I don't know if I want to go above its belt. So, but I think potentially you could do a Lechag. Just because it's different and it's got its own thing going on there too,
Yeah.
and they're both going out in different directions, but they both
Right.
offer something completely
Okay.
different.
On that note,
I know I would like the Lechag better though, or the Dag.
okay. The reason why that would work is that you have
Not one you chose though.
not
No,
even close.
yeah.
You have two unique flavor palettes, but completely uncomparable. One is a peat smoked
Yeah.
maritime one, and this one is almost.
But
the
we're saying
polar
we're having
opposite.
trouble finding anybody who's comparable. So that's
True,
what I'm saying.
true,
Let's go in a
true,
different
true,
direction.
true,
Let's try
true.
somebody who does the
Okay,
same thing in
so
another.
Strath Isla, let's assume we're not doing that.
Okay, don't tell me you didn't cheap out and go with Dalmore, did you?
No, I did
Okay,
not.
good. I was
I don't
like,
know
he
about
wouldn't.
cheap out. That seems. I
didn't mean it that way.
Cheap out.
I just meant
These
like
are
an
about
easy
the same
one.
price point. Dalmore to me is a possibility, only because.
But it's all
What the heck,
sherry.
man?
It's,
What is it with Scotch Night and helicopters?
we're in a crime-ridden
I
neighborhood.
don't, it must be this RCMP helicopters. Okay, so
Spying on us.
I know. Okay, so Lachig, I'm kind of like, yeah, but no. There's two other ones that we haven't
Okay,
talked
all
about.
right.
Strath Isla is comparable because it shares two different characteristic points, and you could actually compare those two things.
Brackla.
Royal Brackla. Why? Because it's the same. It's a Highland whiskey.
Yeah.
So, and it's sort of Speyside-ish.
it's close-ish, right?
But yeah, I mean, it's more Highland than it is Speyside, and we know that every Speyside is a Highland. That's not what we're trying to say here. But Brackla is, it's comparable by region in some ways. It's not a sherry bomb, but yet it has a lot of sweet, dry flavors to it. I don't think it's perfectly comparable. So I have one other one
Okay.
that I think might do the trick.
And it's up in that region.
Yeah, kind of.
I want to try to get it, but
That I think, and again, I think it's more of it stands up to it for complexity's sake and has a couple of similar characteristics.
it's hard to
I
think. I
think-
can't see the bar, and I don't know.
No. Well, you've drank
I don't
it
know off the
before.
top of my head. Can you?
Can I give you a hint?
Well, sure. Give me a hint.
3?
3 hints.
3 is your hint.
3 is my hint.
Yeah.
Number 3.
3, the number 3.
Old Pulteney? No, that would be too far. It would have to be. I don't even know what 3 was. Tamdu?
3 is your hint, though. Or a triple play? No? Nothing coming to you?
I'm drawing a blank.
Well, we had a triple cask once.
Triple wood?
Dalwhinnie.
Oh, the Dalwhinnie.
Dalwhinnie, yeah. Triple cask.
Oh, that is a nice choice, actually.
Do you like it?
I like
Do you
that
see
choice.
why it
I totally
works?
forgot we had
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. But you
Not
see
that it
how-
would have, I would have guessed it,
Right.
or even pulled from it if I had known it was there. But that
I
is a
think-
good choice.
I think it actually hangs with the level of, like to me, I wouldn't say it's better than the Dalwhinnie. I would say, there's some sherry cask that we have to deal with, but it's not all about sherry when you drink that one.
No.
It has a nice complexity
Okay.
to it.
I like
and,
it.
I think what I'm trying to say, that what I like about it in terms of comparison, is sort of has a similar price point and a similar sort of what I think of as a quality, you know, like I really like that whiskey, and I agree that it didn't deserve a 4, where Dalwhinnie does deserve a 4, but I think they're two different characters. But I do think that it would be worth drinking them side by side to see
Yeah. No,
how
let's
they
do
compare.
that. That's a good
You
idea.
like it, eh?
I love it.
Cool.
And I think my prediction is I think this one's going to knock it out of the park.
You think Dalwhinnie will just
Yeah,
corner
it
it
won't
and
be.
beat the crap out of it?
Pound, pound.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's my guess. But I don't know.
I'm just looking forward to the experience now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to drink Royal Bracala tonight. I don't want to drink Strath Island tonight. Let's go get
That's
it.
perfect. Because,
Okay.
you know, the funny thing is about that one, I think, because we've had it recently, and I remember not liking it as much as you and not giving it a very good score, personal score. So it'd be interesting, because this one I haven't, and it surprised me. So this is going to be a great comparison. The Dalwhinnie Triple Cask 12-year.
Yes. All right.
There it is. It looks good, you know. It reminds me of a whiskey that you'd find in a Western bar. you know that piano playing in the background? Give me
Totally.
the Dalwhinnie.
Totally. You want to pour? You don't get to pour?
All right. All right, here we go.
Okay.
This is so fun. This is almost the funnest part.
Is moving from one whiskey to another
Yeah.
the most fun?
The most fun.
The funnest of the most fun.
bestest time ever.
Okay. Well, let's see what we
Ooh, what a different smell that
Right,
is.
right off the bat.
Wow, really different. You know, I'm not sure I've had this second time around after it's sat.
Yeah, that's another point. This is a different whiskey.
It's coming out like swinging already, right? It's, you know what I mean? Just on the nose. He's like,
It's a
I'm
little
not
more
going to
serious.
just give up easy here.
What's the alcohol by volume? Is 40. So not a super.
Yeah, that is disappointing.
Well, you wonder why. Why not chip it at the extra 3% by volume? You know, I know it matters over volumes and volumes and volumes of casks and whiskey and water to all create more
But
product.
it's a sellout.
Hmm?
It just feels like a sellout.
A little bit. Especially if everybody knows. On the nose.
On the nose, it's good on the nose. See how it is on the gums.
Well, what's the difference though? What do you taste differently?
What do I
The-
smell differently?
Yeah, what do you smell differently? What do you experience differently that you weren't feeling?
This is a little more medicinal, but
I would agree.
maybe a bit earthy too.
Yeah, actually that's not bad. It is. Medicinal and earthy relative to the Dalwhinnie, which of course is a gentle spirit, but
very rubbing alcohol-y.
well, and I'm kind of like I'm searching for the woods in there. I'm searching for the
Yeah,
various
triple cask.
twists.
You better bring it.
Yeah, you're gonna have an American oak. You're gonna have a used regular bourbon type cask, and then you're gonna have a sherry cask, and they're all coming together to produce a unified flavor. Each is gonna exert something on the other to kind of present something here.
Let's give it
But
a
it
shot.
doesn't. I mean, it
I
doesn't
would
jump
taste
out
it
on the
so
nose.
bad.
I kind of have like it's just a single sort of. I like how you say earthy. You going in?
I have to.
Let's do
I'm
it.
dying
Okay,
for a
let's do it.
taste.
Here we go.
I think that aged well. That opened up pretty nice. Wow. I can taste. I
really
can taste
good.
the woods and stuff.
It's really good.
That is not bad. I haven't had that. It's amazing. What a difference.
It's like a big Cadillac. It's like it just kind of rolls along, you know? It's like when it gets on your tongue, it tastes really nice and smooth, and I'm going to go ahead and use smooth unadulterated here. And then as it cruises on through, it's sort of a thick, more oily whiskey than this one. It has a greater viscosity and a greater mouthfeel. And then it just keeps on rolling, but it doesn't really have a moment where it gets spiky or like
Yeah, no complexity.
and
It just
I wouldn't
stays.
say there isn't any real harshness in there either. It's just sort of Like,
It's an overall pleasant go.
it's very pleasant.
That surprised me. I was surprised twice. Now, how does it compare? That's a tough one. I think it was a good call. I'm sucking up to you a lot tonight. You should enjoy that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, it's funny because when I've looked over everything, that's the only one that felt right. You know?
It's kind of like the Lecheg option, but in a different direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit that way.
Lecheg.
Lateral, then, I don't know. What's the other way to move?
Yeah. No,
Forward.
I think what I like is it sort of occupies a similar realm of quality. I really love the Dalwhinnie, and I think it's an exceptional whiskey, and it's a very pleasant experience. And I think the Balvenie is similar, but it's more of a big smoothie and a big sort of oily, tasty smoothie. And I remember this about the Balvenie, that it wasn't about the sherry when you drink it. It's in there. There is sort of you can go with dried fruit, and if you really want to think about that one thing, you can feel it. But that's certainly not what dominates it or flatlines it or jumps out. Like, I think that's why it's good. It's good. I believe that's why I had trouble with this one originally, thinking that, it could be a 4, it could be, I went back and forth on this one.
Right. What was it at the end of the day?
At the end of the day, it was a 3, and because it was really expensive and it was almost impossible to find.
Well, this is why it would be good to try is it the Balvenie? It is a
Doublewood?
12. Is this
The
a
Doublewood?
12?
Yeah,
the
this is
standard
12.
one?
Yeah, they're Doublewood 12.
It'd be good
It's a
to try
12.
that and to see if this one is that much better. Well, you got to think about that.
Well, I just want that
but it is
Doublewood.
40%.
I want the Doublewood to come down in price. Yeah, and that's another knock against it. Right? It didn't even bother to chip up to 43. At least Dalwhinnie gives it 15 years and it sits at 43. Those help you choose a 4 a little more than an alcohol by volume of 40 and 12-year-old.
I don't think you see too many scotches over 12 that don't.
That don't go 43.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be my
if you're going to
guess,
bother keeping it in that long.
Because they know it's a bit of a...
I know. They've got to know.
That's why that is surprising why it's so expensive. So I don't know. This is one of those times where you got to go back to back to back.
Yeah. What, is there another one?
No. Just go back to the Dalwhinnie and see.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the winner here is. If we have to take all things into consideration, it's a tough one. Maybe
I'm
it
feeling
goes
the
back to the
Balvenie because I thought the nose was so unique, whereas this nose wasn't unique. It was sort of more of a like it was interesting and sort of a bit of a you're going to get something interesting, but the Dalwhinnie was truly unique, and I liked. What I like about the Balvenie more than the Dalwhinnie is sort of the complete ride, if that makes any sense in terms of
It's a more along your lines what you like.
Yeah.
It has that earthy flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, where that comes from, whether it's the American oak, virgin oak, or whether it's the charred used cask, I don't know.
Is there a bourbony flavor to it? Maybe there is, eh?
Maybe a small amount. I don't know.
Picking that up a little bit.
But that
I
could
don't
be
know
a
how
bit of
valid it
sweetness
is.
too. You know how the bourbon.
Well, that's exactly.
Yeah. And the bourbon has that sugary niceness to it, like kind of a. Yeah.
Yeah, it has that. Definitely has that. I got to try the Dalwhinnie just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a different. Just smell it. It's a totally different thing. Still inviting though.
No, and then that drives it right back to that beeswax and high flowers up in the subalpine, you know?
It's that Bayonne Scotch
Bayonne.
from Lord of the Rings.
Ah.
Or the Hobbit.
Oh,
Something he would
interesting. Yeah, with all those bees and
Yeah.
stuff. That's good. I like that visual.
Would
I
it be
like-
better to say Tom Bombadil though?
Well, kind of, because of the
Yeah.
honey and the.
I
don't
think he's
know.
better.
Yeah,
Because he's
maybe.
it's more flowery.
Yeah, more nature
It's
and
not as rough. This
and
this could be.
more Bjorn.
Sheesh. Though, okay. Having said that, having tasted that,
Yeah, see?
it
See,
it
I
would
love
be-
that sweet honey. I can taste that now coming
Yeah,
back on this
I like
one.
that. It feels like you're out. I guess yeah, you can incorporate it into the high hills, high rolling hills, but just out in forest, almost like a valley more so for me, you know. And I see all those flavors that are coming through in a valley, right in the springtime.
Yes, I agree. Of course, the elevation, though, is a big factor because it all
Right.
has to come down from a certain elevation. But whatever, we can get over that.
Okay, well, I think that wraps that part up.
It does, nicely, in fact.
Okay, onward.
Quote of the night.
Last week we enjoyed some of the Michael Jackson prose from Scotland and its whiskies. And I thought I would return to that again. This is the one. You ready?
Okay.
Why build a distillery in such an inaccessible place? Wine writer Andrew Jefford suggested that the Victorian founders wished to pit man against nature, as so many Scottish engineers did, or to test the workers' endurance, as though the work of the distillery were a Protestant allegory. Dalwhinnie means meeting place, and the distillery is at the crossroads on an old 140-mile smuggling route from Spey to the more populous cities of the south. It must have been an even harder route, with barrels or crocks of whiskey loaded onto Highland ponies, over crags and tors, boulders and scree, bog and birchwood. The forest of Athol mounts guard over the baronal Blair Castle, which also has the services of its own private army, the only one permitted in Britain. I have twice been led into the castle between lines of rifle-bearing Athol Highlanders, and announced by a man entitled Fear and Tie. It has been demanded of me, do you undertake to uphold the spirit and aims of the keeper of the quiche? I have agreed to do so. I'll read just a little more here. There have been rituals in the Red Bedroom. There have been banquets of salmon, Angus beef, and Perthshire raspberries with heather honey cream, each served with an appropriate whiskey. Dinner with 200 people in the Grand Hall, its walls densely spiked with 132 sets of antlers. High above the oak beams are raised and angled like giants' axes. The bagpipes have howled through the narrow stone corridors and stairways. The mace has whirled. Lords and ladies, viscounts and knights have been introduced. The Earl of Elgin has spoken of our dear land, this great nation of ours. Wherever you are in the world, it will be a better place for you, or for your having been to Scotland. Hey, Michael Jackson, what a description. What a place. What the heck? This guy, he went through this. He experienced this. I mean, this is...
Isn't he from there?
Well, actually, he's English.
Is he English?
Yeah.
Well, he's close enough.
Yeah.
I didn't like that one as much as I
No?
liked the other one.
Which one?
The one you read before from him.
Oh,
last
yeah,
week's.
but... Okay, so what I liked about that, right? I mean, first of all, I enjoyed the description of...
There's a few things I did like.
Yeah, like, so eating and
Yeah.
the antlers and
The matching
lords
up
and
of the scotches.
Right, and all that. That was quite beautiful. But I mean, even sort of thinking like... well, how did it start again? I like the beginning. Well, I lost the page.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Well, the beginning I thought
Oh, here
was...
it is. Why build a distillery in such an inaccessible place?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's worth talking about. Like, and it goes back to the point that we've been kind of bringing up all night. It's like, was this some sort of a dare? Was it a challenge? Was it a vision? Was it, you're going to go up into between two mountain passes and go way up on a plateau in these crazy moors where it's all skaggy and whatever, and you're going to bring all your supplies up there to build this thing, and you're going to do it. And then you're going to let this occur for some period of time. Like, this started a long, long time ago. We're talking 121 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about that, right?
I can't remember everything that you read on the box, but what was it?
Well,
What was the history, the background there?
why did they do it?
Yeah. Do we know? Or
No,
was
I
this-
think
we're gonna
that's
speculate on
the
it?
big thing, is that people actually ask that all the time. And in fact, like, so it's like, oh, I'm going to go visit this thing. And then the people that work there, they're like, oh, yeah, you're lucky, you get to go. You know what I mean? Like, It's like if you're up there doing it, you know, it's like either it's a super spiritual monk-like task where you're, you know, just making sure the Dalwhinnie gets just perfect, you know.
Well, they've kept that
Well, and that's I think the
tradition
point
up, eh?
is that it's I think it's worth what they're doing, but it is quite a task of endurance, wouldn't you think?
gives it. Yeah, the story brings a lot to it. The story it makes you it counts as points towards it.
I think so too.
But
and
it
he's-
stands alone though. At the same time, like I don't think this one needs it
no.
as much. I think it's kind of cool that it is. But
Well, if it did have a history of not only being unique in its where they built it, but then before it was ever built, it was a place where people met and came together and traveled smuggling whiskey. I think that's a nice backstory
Yeah.
because it sort of adds to the flavor of the whole thing. Imagine moving through some serious highland, laden down with illegal barrels of whiskey, and you're hoping that you don't get captured, and more importantly, you're hoping that the people that you arranged to meet would be there to pay you, and that they'll have the money to actually pay you, and all the rest of it. I mean, what a life that would have been,
yeah,
And then the whole bit about somehow there's a private army in a place where somebody like Michael Jackson gets invited to be. So this Keepers of the Quiche, or Cache, I think is the pronunciation. And again, I got to work on that. But apparently this is awarded only to people that have contributed greatly to the Scotch whiskey industry. So it's sort of a, like a small group of people that are awarded entry into this, and so obviously he has, and he's giving us a taste of the possibilities of being part of something like such a fine fellowship. And I like that description because it stokes your imagination for maybe being involved in something that special, and may also stoke your imagination for what you could do to be special toward whiskey. Like you could have your own night where people come and gather in the clubhouse and taste whiskeys, and you could do your own little fellowship, and whether it be a men's club or just a whiskey lovers club, and you could pair whiskeys with some delicious things and make something of it, and regardless of whether you're invited to be part of the Keepers of the Cache or whether you're just doing something for your own passion and love for whiskey, it inspires. His writing inspires this stuff,
Mhm.
and that's why I like coming back to him, because he's passed away, so when I read his stuff now, it's even more special, and to be inspired to contribute to something fellowship-like in your own way through whiskey, and to know that certain people would think well of you as a result of that, and that's not why you would do it, but to think that there's others out there also doing it,
Mhm.
inspires you to maybe think of different ways to transfer your love of whiskey into something more, something like community and fellowship, and to actually do something with this that is altruistic. It's not about anything else other than just purely getting together and loving it. What more do you need? What more reason do you need to do anything? So you have it. Eh?
yeah.
Quote
No, I
of
think
the
you
night.
quote of the night. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you wrapped it up pretty nicely there.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
Yeah, I like the heather cream part.
Pardon the heather,
Heather cream.
the cream, the
There's some sort of heather cream. Sounded good.
something with the raspberries or
Yeah,
strawberries
it
or
might have
something?
been. Oh,
Could have been
oh,
delicious.
See, doesn't that sound good?
Yes.
Sounds really good.
Really good.
Just berries and cream, yeah.
Berries, cream, and whiskey.
Oh,
Come on.
perfectly matched.
Yes. Dalwhinnie would go nicely with that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I'm glad you're so on side with this. It really makes me feel good, because it makes me believe that we can drink whiskeys into the future, like that aren't just Isla whiskeys. And it sounds like I'm dissing Isla, which is just sacrilegious. But the point being is that there's a broad landscape out there in Scotland, and each has a number of really probably unexplored distilleries, and we should go back to them. Hey?
Yeah.
Like, this is a
Well,
great
we did
example
try a
of
lot of them.
coming
yeah.
back to
Well, yeah, that's
Dalwhinnie
what we
and-
said. Like, you're never going to find the gem if you don't kind of revisit
right.
and
And you're not going to
Hop all
appreciate
over.
your own whiskeys that you love so
Yeah.
much, even more when you come back to it.
yeah, that's a good way of putting
Yeah.
it. Well, Dalwhinnie, well done, Dalwhinnie.
Well done, Dalwhinnie.
Really well done.
Yeah, a pleasant surprise of, It
it
wasn't even a surprise, I think.
Well, not
Well,
for
it
you.
kind of was. Yeah, it kind of was and it kind of wasn't. But
Yeah, I think your dad made a good pick.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
A lovely night.
lovely night. And
Very impressive June night, and everything worked out quite well.
it did.
A little touch and go here and there, but
Yeah.
overall we pulled it off.
And a great scotch to boot. Like,
Yes.
That's,
Yes.
it's tucked up. It might even sneak into my top 10. And I'm not even sure I can list all my top 10 yet, but, you know, I can list off 6 of them probably pretty easy.
Yeah.
But that may be in there.
For good reason.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
serves a purpose. It plays a role in the whole, universe of whiskey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like it. Like it.
I like it too. Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's say goodnight.
All right,
And,
good night.
Wish our listeners the best, and encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave comments and get in touch with us. Start discussions. We always enjoy perspectives. We find them extremely valuable and educational. A lot of people out there know a heck of a lot more about whiskey than we do, or certainly have experienced it in different ways. And when we get a chance to talk about those things, it often gets us thinking in different ways about how to approach things. And hopefully the way we approach things maybe provide something for our listeners and people that are kind of into what we're doing. And, it's fun to think that you might go out and try to get a bottle or consider drinking something that we're drinking because of what we're having a conversation about. And that's really cool, So, I hope this is worthwhile, and because we certainly enjoy it. I mean, to be honest, we'd be doing this regardless of whether or not anybody listens. So
Yeah, that's true.
We're just happy to have a good conversation about the whiskey and what it all means to us,
Yeah. So for next week,
Or in a fortnight.
In a
fortnight,
we're going to be trying the
Brook Laddie.
Brook Laddie, or might be another Navy SEAL night.
Another Navy SEAL could appear.
Another Navy SEAL.
I think the schedule dictates Brook Laddie followed by Navy SEAL, but the thing about a Navy SEAL is you can't predict.
No, you can't. So it may happen, it may not.
You try and schedule a Navy SEAL, and that right there could be your downfall. They're already there.
You just don't know. It could be
Already there.
tomorrow.
They're on the porch already, and you didn't even know they were there.
No. All right. Well, that's it.
Excellent.
Thanks
Well,
for joining us.
Yeah, a wonderful night. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate this. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Until next time.
Adios, amigos. Jonathan, we haven't sung in so long.
What do you mean? Sung what?
Well,
What do we need to sing?
in the first few podcasts, we just got into our
Did we
music.
sing?
We sang.
We sang Happy Days. That was about it, though.
I keep coming back to that. There might have been one other song. Can't remember.